You get pushed into 2035 for 10 minutes and you get one Google search. What do you Google? Story 1. Stanley Cup and NBA champions last 9 years. I don't care about the winners, so I won't be spoiled, but can make a fortune betting. Story 2. How do we know OP is not someone currently in 2010 in their timeline posting this for their own benefit? Story 3. Biggest historical events of the last 10 years. It might not make me as much money as looking up Powerball numbers, but it would sate my curiosity, allow me to plan for the future, and maybe give me a way of making some decent money on places like Poly Market. Answer. Just saying, but you could make a fortune the likes of which has never been known with enough major events from such a list memorized. All you gotta do is start uploading videos of you claiming that you're a prophet of the Lord and drip feed the people bit by bit. A tragedy to come here, a triumph of humanity there. Hallelujah, and thank you, Jesus, for the blessed gift of my second sight. Your donations will help me to spread the good word. Basically, become the world's most impossible to ignore televangelist and rake in the cult cash. When you run out of confirmed future events, you give one final prediction in dramatic fashion, preferably live on television, faint dead away there on the air, and when you come to, you tell the world that your gift has left you, but you were given a final message to tell everyone to love all humanity, no matter their color or creed, and then you dramatically retire forever with your billions. Probably still get checks mailed to you from people who say you've changed their lives, and they still want to support you. Also, be sure that with your confirmed through line to the Almighty you toss out, that gay folks are awesome, trans rights are human rights, women are equals, racism hell forever, and that Jesus demands a living wage. You know, fix a few social issues forever while you've got a captive audience. A way to fix religious zealotry, stamp out a few social issues, and make yourself tons of money. Just be sure you're a decent speaker and actor. Story 4. If one is looking to make money, by 2035 the AI assist will be top-notch. So I would type exactly this. If I were to go back in time to 2025 and invest 10,000 in something, what single investment would make the most money by 2034? Story 5. Plot twist. You need 11 minutes trying to solve a CAPTCHA looking for buses, traffic lights, hydrants, and shoot. Story 6. Powerball numbers August 2025. Pick the one that had the biggest jackpot without a winner. Quit my job now. Live off savings until I claim my ticket. Retire. Story 7. What were the major geopolitical developments of the past 11 years? You want to know the future to make money. I want to know where I need to be in order to not get nuked. We are not the same. Story 8. Who won the 2028 US election? Ding, your IP address has been logged for illegal search terms. Election. Story 9. What stock would earn me the most money if I invested 10 years ago? Currently, it would be Nvidia. If I had invested 1,000 10 years ago, I'd have roughly 230K. If I could go back to 2015, I'd scrape together every penny I could get by any legal means necessary and just start investing it all in the top 3 companies that Google would tell me earn the most in the next decade. It wouldn't be a one-time thing either. I'd keep adding to those investments until the 10 years is up. After that, it's literally just an educated guess on whether you should play it safe and pull it all out or keep investing without actually knowing if it'll keep growing or possibly even crash. By then, though, I could reasonably have 100 million and be happy to just cash out and live a stress-free life with no more financial stress or decisions. I wouldn't choose lottery because it's too published every time someone wins a significant amount. I don't want any reason for anyone to say I didn't earn it, so I should just give it to them freely. Answer: if you're reading this 10 years down the road, the answer is a mix between defense contractors and giant multinational energy companies. It's not going to be a lot of growth, but it's going to be the most consistent and risk-free growth ever, because there's absolutely no way that anything is going to change in that sector in the next 10 years. Hasn't changed for the last 50 years. There's absolutely no reason to suspect that's going to change in the next 10 years. The current innovations aren't profitable enough to even make a dent in that sector unless something drastically changes immediately, which it just won't because there's too much money in it, unless someone somehow invents cold fusion, in which case, invest in that. Story 10. I see everyone here has failed to learn the lessons of Back to the Future Part 2. Before you know it, you'll end up in 1885. Story 11. What is the most profitable patent of the last 10 years? Then steal it and celebrate being a billionaire. Story 12. Imagine you try to find Google, but there is no Google. The search engines are replaced by more efficient data extractors. Now you can't even find anything unless you ask another person. Funnier if you are surrounded by sassy 2035 teenagers. Good luck with that. Story 13. Okay, we get it. You can get rich off stocks, lotto, sports betting, etc. What non-financially motivated search would you do? Story 14. Melbourne Cup winners 2025 gonna bet all my savings on the trifecta and become a millionaire by November. Story 15. US presidential election results. This way I'll know whether or not to jump off a building when I return to the present. Story 16. Population demographic. See where people are moving to and get a jump on securing several prime locations. Story 17. Do I have to remember the info when I come back myself, or do I get some physical thing telling me the info, like the info is stored on my phone that I used for the Google search? Or do I get M wrote down on a piece of paper? If I get to have the info stored, then I'd look up the winning Powerball numbers for the past 10 years. Play when it gets big and win. Win once a year, maybe. Start with the next drawing. Then buy another ticket on my birthday next year. Then anniversary of my mom's passing the next. So on pick important dates to me to buy winning ticket on. Throw in some losing tickets. Because the money lost on those losing tickets wouldn't matter at all at that point. I may choose to not win once a year, even, because I would not need that amount of wealth. Maybe 2 or 3 times when it's big. I'd make sure my family is fine financially. I'd make sure any potential kids I'd have are fine. I'd make sure any potential kids my siblings have are fine alongside the current ones. I'd give quite a bit to different charities that mean a lot to me. One of my sisters has 2 sets of twins. I am starting a fund for each one that can access when they turn 18. I'm taking that sister to the bank to open an account to put money into that'll let her kids, and their dad live off the residuals. I'm doing that for all my sister's dad, stepmom, aunts, uncles, cousins. I'm gonna add money into my brother's accounts that they can access when they turn 18 that got started when our mom died. I'm gonna put everything extra into an account to grow and live off the residuals and take money out of it to start more of those if my other siblings have kids. And if I do, I'm making sure me and my family are taken care of. Story 18. How long was Trump's second term? I need to know how much longer I have to deal with this nightmare. Story 19. Downloading 2026-2030 stock market history, Mega Million Lotto history, also any big world-changing news. Story 20. Stocks. I have enough money to invest, but I don't make enough money for it to be smart to do so unless I had a sure thing. Like, if I'm going to take from the home down payment fund for anything, it had better either save my jerk or make me a millionaire. Story 21. My name obituary. Just to see. I'm not planning on kicking off in the next 10 years, but if I know one way or the other, I can make some more confident moves one way or the other. Story 22. Assuming the world hasn't been utterly decimated, what teams won whatever sport for the last 9-ish years? What horses won major races? I'd be set for generations and bankrupt the casinos. Just doing the Lord's work, lol. Also, if I had the time, it would be nice to know what medical scientific advancements had been made. Story 23. Ah, I know this one. Buy an old sports almanac. Probably the same as many others. Write down a few dozen numbers for lottery wins, but spread out over a few years just to avoid suspicion. Story 24. Winning lotto number of a specific date and top 2 companies of 2030 to give myself a few years to start investing. Story 25. I guess stocks. I don't think I understand it well enough to even gather the right information, but I'd give it a shot. Like I'd Google, if I could time travel back to 2025 and buy stocks, what should I buy for maximum profitability? Story 26. Best performing stocks between 2025 and 2035. Invest in a handful of them and you'd likely make more money than any one lottery win, and winning multiple lotteries starts looking suspicious. Story 27. Winning lottery numbers, winning horses, winning sports teams, etc. for the next 6 months from my time. Story 28. I go to Better Search Engine or straight up AI and ask it to summarize most important events in the last 10 years. Story 29. I don't, because in 2035, at the current rate, Google will be 100 worthless, and the answer will be an ad or an AI hallucination. Story 30. I hope I also have a pen and paper to write things down with, because if I have to rely on my memory, then that's gonna be a problem. Story 31. Winning numbers for the first bigger Powerball draw and memorize them quick. Alternatively, the best performing stocks and ETFs over the last decade. Story 32. It won't matter what I search. By 2035, it will take at least 10 minutes to get past the ads in order to get to the legitimate results. Story 33. At its current trajectory, it doesn't matter because, by then, Google search results will be a pile of ads completely unrelated to what you searched for. Story 34. Probably a stock chart for SPY. If I couldn't take screenshots, then I'd memorize the big drops and gains and ride those with puts and calls. Easy billionaire. Story 35. Maybe something like timeline of historical events in the last 10 years. I don't want a get-rich-quick scheme. I want to know what's coming. Story 36. Can't. Google is decommissioned in 2035 due to the event. I'm stuck here in 2025 from 2045 after walking through some weird metal door in a dark cave in Germany. Story 37. What are the lottery numbers for the whole year of 2026 and the month of December 2025? Story 38. 2026 Lotto numbers, 2026 Kentucky Derby winners. Really anything to get paid so I can relieve some stress for me and family, then give back to those in need. Story 39. Just type in baseball reference to see World Series winners so I can see if my team wins one. At the very least, I can place a bet on the winner of the series. Story 40. I'll search up to see what the current standards of living are for the average American, the current cost of living for the average American, and the average cost of housing, the average wages, all in one Google search, just to see what lies ahead and how I can prepare myself as a young adult trying to prepare themselves for independent living. Story 41. House prices. My town, history. Like, do I have any shot of being able to afford a home by then? Is there some big crash eventually? Or are things just going to keep getting more expensive, and if so, I wouldn't even bother saving, just piss it all away on travel. Story 42. Mega Millions and Powerball winning numbers for August 1, 2025 to December 31, 2035. If winning lotto numbers aren't allowed, see if he's dead yet. Story 43. I would Google all the Powerball number of 2025. I would win the next drawing after I got back to 2025. Wait a couple months, give my dad the winning numbers for the drawing coming up, and wait until the last drawing of the year, give my mother-in-law the winning numbers for that drawing. Story 44. Lotto numbers is too easy. I'm gonna go with March Madness results from 2026 and forward. Easy way to cash in on multiple bounties for the perfect bracket. Story 45. Stupidest question on Quora. There most definitely would be some weird batshit questions over the next decade. Maybe it would finally get worse than Yahoo Answers. Story 46. Summarize world events for the last 10 years, including as many important occurrences, but short enough that I can read in 9 minutes. List them in order of occurrence with dates and times. Story 47. Lottery numbers or top-performing stocks of the past decade, or futures contract pricing month by month. Anyone with half a brain could make huge sums of money. Story 48. I Google another search engine that isn't Google, and then proceed to search as many things as I want. Story 49. Sports scores for the year 2025. The lottery would be tempting, but playing the lottery directly impacts the lottery, meaning the longer you go on, the less certain your information is. If you keep winning, they may change the way the numbers are chosen. The jackpots would change from the payouts. Sports betting wouldn't have much, if any, impact on the sports themselves. It's easier to hide your knowledge by making wrong picks along with the winning picks. You can spread your winning out through different betting options. Story 50. Highest stock market gains 2025-2035, so I can make some money with less suspicion and less susceptibility to butterfly effects. Story 51. The winners of every major sports competition in the 10 years I jumped forward. Then I start sports betting hard, but I spread it out across all sports. Never pick, say, the Super Bowl winner twice in a row. Make some obvious choices mixed with some underdog victories. Invest all earned money on the next tournament and so on. Eventually, I'll have money that when I blow it in 2036, it'll be truly devastating. Turns out I let all the money blind me to the fact that I'm actually a full-blown gambling addict now, and I can't just stop even when I don't know the winners anymore. That's what I get for betting on Olympic women's volleyball. Story 52. Lots of people are gonna say lotto numbers or something, but I'm never gonna remember that. Winner of a couple of big sports events in 2025 to 2026 won't be big wins like the lottery, but easier to remember. Story 53. I would look up the stocks with the most growth over the last 10 years. Those outcomes are far less likely to change from the butterfly effect than SB champs or lottery numbers. Someone tearing their ACL could very well happen if you just run history back again. Story 54. I would look at historical stock market data to find out all the crazy highs and lows with the reasons for them. This way I would know if there are any crazy events like COVID coming, because stock markets are good indicators of that. Then I'll invest heavily on options and futures based on what I saw to make a shootload of money in 2 years. Happily ever after, LOL. Story 55. Full 2026 NCAA men's basketball tournament results. Can place a long shot bet with full bracket results. Story 56. Do I get to think about it beforehand? Because if I just happen to be transferred randomly and said I have 10 minutes without prior thought, likelihood is that I would end up doing something stupid, lol. Story 57. Google AI search results would be the norm by then. Worst crypto crashes and recoveries between 2025 and now. Top performers as of today. Story 58. I'm going full on Biff to the future and looking up their online sports almanacs. I think a lot of people would do Biff to the future thing in one way or another. Obvious cash grab. Story 59. Most valuable companies in the world stocks are better than lotto numbers, or maybe fastest growing companies. Story 60. I think the winner of next year's NBA Finals would work and not raise eyebrows. You can take the odds at the beginning of the season, and for each best of series all the way to the finals, and come out ridiculously wealthy. Story 61. My name and marriage certificates. Gonna be able to tell if I need to change my whole life plan or if I'm doing fine.